Sleep is such a big and unavoidable part of our lives, so what happens when sleep becomes anything but relaxing? Sleep and dreams can be the perfect vehicle for all sorts of horror, and it's all made that little bit worse with the knowledge that at some point we're all gonna have to sleep after watching it. So with that in mind, I'm Amy from What Culture, and here are 10 horrors that will make you never sleep again. 10. Before I Wake. When you're a kid and you have a bad dream, one of the simplest and most effective things your parents can say to you is to remind you that it's all just a dream, none of it's real, and it's over now. Imagine, however, if your dreams somehow started to become real and could cause untold damage in the waking world. So in comes Cody. He's a young, orphaned child who's just been adopted by a couple who lost their own son recently to an unfortunate accident. They find on taking him in that anything he dreams can materialize in real life, both the good and the bad things. What starts off as a beautiful display of colorful butterflies soon gives way to appearances of the nightmarish creatures haunting Cody's dreams. Whilst poor Cody sleeps and dreams of bad things, those very bad things are causing chaos in real time to those around him. Imagine every night having to worry about going to sleep and having nightmares, not just for your own sake, but for that of your loved ones too, because what's just a scary dream for you could be the end of the line for them. 9. Donnie Darko. The ongoing joke about Donnie Darko is that nobody really knows what it was about. Not even Jake Gyllenhaal when he starred in the main role. Really though, that's all part of its charm. It's jarring and off-putting, and that's what makes it so good. The film follows the titular Donnie, a teenage boy who's prone to sleepwalking. Most of us would be freaked out enough if we woke up and found we'd sleepwalked into the road, never mind if that road was also occupied by a horrible rabbit suit wearing man threatening the end of the world. A weird mix of dreams, reality, visions and hallucinations, this film really does keep you on your toes. With the threat of the impending apocalypse being thrust upon you when sleeping or awake, there really is no safe space. 8. The Break-In 2016. This one does need to be prefaced by saying it is extremely low budget and definitely doesn't quite match up production-wise to a lot of others on this list. It's more the idea behind it that earns it its place. Revolving around a couple expecting their first child soon, the film uses found footage style to put a scary spin on an otherwise very normal situation. The central couple have recently installed some CCTV cameras after news of a string of break-ins in their area, and as we watch their regular life play out, there's always that subtle threat of what you just know has to be coming playing in the background. It is a slow burner, and what can read as great atmosphere building for some can read as just boring for others. The real charm about this film, however, comes from the fact that everything is just so normal right up until it isn't. We are at our most vulnerable when we're asleep, and in a world full of threats, we never know when one might come our way. You can't expect a couple of security cameras to save you. As the film will show you, you can never be fully prepared. 7. Dementia 2015. Dementia is pretty much just the father, if the father happened to be on a bad drug trip and also if Imogen Poots was evil. It starts off with the pretty obvious horrors in the concept of memory loss and the tragic abuse of elderly people by those who are meant to care for them. However, dementia also introduces the concept that maybe you can't always trust yourself. The film centers around an elderly veteran named George, who suffers a stroke and is subsequently diagnosed with dementia. To help with his care and to help keep him relatively independent, his family decides to employ a live-in carer, which, as it turns out, was just a huge mistake. His nurse is a little too happy to shoot him up with tranquilizers, which becomes even more unnerving when he finds himself waking up supposedly having done things he doesn't remember doing at all. I mean, any scenario in which you wake up covered in blood can't be a good one. On the most basic level, it's a pretty terrifying concept to think you could go to sleep, commit some horrible crime and have no memory of doing it, especially when it seems that you can't trust anyone around you. 6. Cheerleader Camp. Carrying on with the theme of, oh god, what did I do in my sleep, we have a slightly lighter entry to this list in the form of Cheerleader Camp. Cheerleader Allison finds herself tormented each night by nightmares about her teammates in the run-up to a competition. The problem is that the people she dreams about seem to turn up dead fairly soon after, each in gruesome and horrible ways, and Allison has to begin considering that maybe it's her fault. It seems like a pretty scary concept, to be unable to control your dreams and then confront the possibility that you're you're acting them out in real time. Like, we're not just talking about some inconvenient sleepwalking or dreaming you're naked at school, then waking up fully nude in geography class. This is serial murder. If I had to consider that every time I hit the hay I might also be killing my friends, I'd definitely struggle to get a good night's rest. 5. Prince of Darkness. Prince of Darkness is a real John Carpenter classic, following a group of students tasked with investigating a mysterious liquid related to a cult that communicates through dreams. Yes, it does sound a bit abstract, but give it a chance. All those involved in the project find themselves sharing a recurring dream in which a figure emerges from a church, and with each new occurrence of the dream, new details are added. Without spoiling too much, the film has everything from interdimensional portals and possession to liquid Satan, all underscored by an ominous and all-telling nightmare. They have to figure out what this dream means, who the figure is, and what the hell is going on in general before it's too late. It's definitely a different vibe to a lot of others on this list, but it's certainly still worth checking out. 4. Deadly Blessing, 1981. The film's poster art sells it as a very different experience, riffing on the one sleep-related scene that is sure to make your skin crawl. After a series of gory murders take place at an isolated farm, a trio of friends are advised to leave town to avoid meeting a similar fate. Of course, because this is a horror movie, they don't do that, and so they face the consequences. Amongst the terror of all the murders, one character, Lana, finds that she can't even get respite in sleep. She dreams that a pair of hands reach down and grasp her head, forcing her mouth open so that a spider can hop on in there. I won't claim that everyone has some form of arachnophobia, because there are people out there who just love having tarantulas and all sorts crawl all over them, but having a nondescript arachnid fall into your gaping mouth in bed whilst some unknown hands claw at your face really just can't be fun for anyone. 3. Slumber 2017. Well, we're going to kick off this entry by saying that apparently the film is inspired by real accounts, so good luck if you wanted to sleep soundly tonight. Sleep paralysis is a somewhat common phenomenon in which between the stages of sleep and wake, the sufferer is paralysed but experiences hallucinations of terrifying things. This obviously seems like a concept ripe for the picking when it comes to the horror genre, and Slumber took that idea and ran with it. What initially seems to be just one boy suffering from sleep paralysis soon evolves into something much more, with some pretty memorable bits of body horror playing out alongside the more supernatural elements. Being paralysed and unable to fight back against the forces trying to harm you is horrible enough in the film, never mind in real life. So if sleep paralysis has never been a concern of yours before, then watch this film to unlock a whole new fear. 2. Mara. The concept here is simple. A big bad sleep demon does big bad things. The film opens with a mother who's under investigation for supposedly killing her husband, whilst both herself and her daughter insist that it was actually a demon, Mara, who did it. Criminal psychologist Kate is assigned to look at the case, and despite her initial disbelief, soon finds out that the legend of Mara is quite hard to ignore. There are 4 stages to Mara's attacks. In the first, you experience sleep paralysis and see her. Secondly, she leaves red marks in your eyes. Third, she makes physical contact with you by strangling you or some other nasty gesture. And in the 4th and final stage, she appears to you in the waking world. In this stage, if you fall asleep, you die. As we've established, sleep paralysis is absolutely terrifying as it is, so the last thing that needs to be added to that experience is a real demon threatening you with real death. So yeah, good luck sleeping after this one. You could be next. 1. A Nightmare on Elm Street, 1984. There could be no other film holding the top spot than A Nightmare on Elm Street. Whilst it's certainly not the first film to make sleeping the scariest activity, it's definitely one of the most infamous. Freddy Krueger has been the cause behind many a sleepless night, with the film leaving viewers quaking beneath the duvet for decades now. Yes, there has been a remake or two, and also a whole bunch of sequels that we just choose not to talk about, but nothing quite stands up to the original. If somehow the premise of this film has passed you by, all you need to know is that Freddy Krueger will haunt your dreams trying to kill you, and if he kills you in your dream, you die in real life. And it's worth noting that this guy doesn't kill you nicely, he'll slice and dice you. Krueger is pure evil, and his crusty, disgusting appearance, including clawed gloves and a fedora of all things, is sure to burn itself into your retinas. If you're looking for an all-time classic, then you can never go wrong with this. And with that, we've reached the end of this list of 10 horrors that will make you never sleep again. If you've got any more sleep-related horrors you would have included, then let us know in the comments down below. And remember to check out whatculture.com for more lists and articles like this every single day. As always, I've been Amy from What Culture, and I'll catch you next time.